Okay, this is a great topic today. This is one of the number one, most brought up topics in regards to live streaming. And this is one that we hear about all the time from every corner of the broadcasting space, whether you're a viewer or you're just interested, everything. Today, we are talking about unmotivated streamers, streamers that lack the motivation to continue broadcasting. We are breaking this down in a way that I hope has never been done before. Before I do that, real quick, if you like this kind of stuff, we do tons of it on this channel, everything from marketing to the new media world. Please consider subscribing or tossing a like button. Hitting the like button? Yeah, that one for the YouTube algorithm. It helps the channel a ton and it's free. And if you like these kind of conversations, we have them all day over at discord.gg/Devin where I hang out. So, okay, let's get to it. How did I get inspired for this unmotivated broadcaster talk? Well, first of all, I've probably got this question, I don't know, dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And this is like one of the number one things that I come across when I'm talking to broadcasters is these problems of motivation. This particular video is going to be more targeted towards people who are smaller content creators and are unmotivated to broadcast. I'm going to make another video called the mental health toll of broadcasting. I've been trying to make for months, but it takes like a lot of research. That's going to be about like the bigger overarching thing of streaming. But of course, look no further for any inspiration on these topics than r/Twitch, where streamers go to die or never be born. This thread caught the interest. I think it was Jimmy33 on Discord who put me on this thread because I try not to read this subreddit on my own accord. But it does inspire videos like this one. Sometimes I feel lazy and unmotivated when streaming because I feel like bleep when no one is even watching me. I'm talking on my stream, Elmao. I don't know. Maybe you guys have any idea on how to be motivated? Sometimes I just tell myself that I'll do what makes me happy and stop thinking about the numbers. How about you guys? Okay, so it all starts here. I'm going to cover some of the motivation from like longer term broadcasters, and I think we're going to break down the reasons why. But I just love every single time these replies are always so fanciful for it's like, well, dude, you just have to do something you love. You just have to like motivate yourself by realizing that it's not a big deal how many viewers you have. Don't look at the view count and just become happiness. Just embody happiness and stream because you want to stream, not because you have to stream, right? Like, and look, if you're the type of person who's streaming just to entertain yourself, then who cares? This video is not for you, okay? If you love having 10 viewers playing esoteric Japanese RPGs, then like more power to you. Like I'm not here to tell you any different, okay? This is for, I think, the vast majority of people who are really looking to do something or grow and feel stuck or unmotivated. So let's get into reasons why first, okay? And to do that, we have to use some technology, my friends. It's some technology that you may have never seen before. It's 2021, and I really think this technology is very advanced for the year. That's right, we're busting out the notepad. Okay, so why do users users? I'm way too much in marketing mode. I've been at work all day. Why do people get unmotivated to stream? Okay, let's like break it down super hard. Well, the number one reason is low CCVs. This is viewer count, right? And this is concurrent viewers as CCVs, viewer count. So this is like streaming to 0 viewers. We'll just put some caveats here. But also, and more frequently, you have a huge viewer count increase, and then your viewers dip lower later. This happens all the time in broadcasting, and if you are going to be a broadcaster of any sort of prominence, you have to realize this will happen all the time. But the way that viewership works in live streaming services is very event-based. So you might do something that gets you a huge amount of viewers relative to the number of viewers you normally get, and then you'll drop off. And this can happen. A lot of people think this happens over one stream, and it does, but a lot of times it actually happens over like a month or 2 months or 3 months. So I cannot tell you how many top broadcasters that I see hit 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 viewers, and I just sit back and they're on cloud 9, literally. They're just floating, and I'm like it's just a matter of time before they're back to 5K, 6K, 7K, wherever they baseline out at. And then they're like, oh, I'm a failure. It's all over. It's the doomsday. Because what's so shitty about live streaming is that let's say that you have 2,000 viewers, okay? And then you go up to 5,000 viewers and you're elated. You're like, this is amazing. This is so awesome. I'm the big time rolling in. Justin Bieber, get out of the way. Is he still popular? I don't know. I'm old. Okay, whatever. 5,000 viewers. So you're at 2,000, now you're at 5,000. You drop to 4,000, and now you feel like you're a failure. Okay, you doubled your viewership. But because you dropped from your high, you are miserable. And I see this happen all the time. This is something that is completely illogical, and it's something that we can address through the solutions that come later in this video, because I'm gonna provide solutions. I don't do videos unless I provide solutions, but this is a huge like logical fallacy that I see bother people one at a time. It's like if you are and I've even seen this in like people that had like 2 or 3K viewers concurrently, go up to like 20 or 30K, go down to 10K like 3 months later, and they're like, I'm a failure. It's over. I'm a dead streamer. It's like, dude, okay? Like, you have to realize that, number one, if you're even above 400 viewers, you are in the top 0.0001% of Twitch, right? But number two, if you've doubled your viewership in 3 months, like, you go to any other business in the universe, like, I don't care what it is, you go into a retail store and they say, we doubled our sales in a month. Like, that's unbelievable, right? If you go to any business that sells any kind of product or SaaS or whatever, right? And they're like, we doubled our sales in a quarter, 3 months, right? Everybody at the business would be like, yeah! But for some reason, because streaming is so neurotic, it's like you double your viewer count, then drop back down, and you're like, oh, I'm failing. No, by no metric are you failing. But we're going to discuss this whole thing as we go through the reasons. But this is number one. And you'll also see this with this guy unhappily streaming to 0 viewers. We're going to talk about that. In fact, do I want to talk about that now? No, let's just go through the reasons why. But man, the 0 viewer thing, I'm going to come back to that. And it's going to be important. So number two is like, you just don't feel like results are coming. Whatever you attach that to. This could also be related to number one. It's like I'm just not getting enough viewers, or just the chat doesn't feel like it used to. The stream doesn't feel like it used to. This is really the number one. And then number three is like you don't feel like you're going anywhere. So you just feel like you're just streaming every day just to stream. This is especially relevant to people that are like in the 0 to 100 viewer range. It's going to be most of you that are broadcasters watching that are just like, where am I going? Like, what's next? Okay. And we're going to address how to fix this today. But first, I'm going to shit on people that stream to 0 viewers for a while, okay? First of all, what are you doing? Streaming to 0 viewers, it drives me crazy. That's actually the thing of this thread that like made me make this video, was there are so many people. If I go into the Twitch directory right now and I sort by lowest viewer, I'm going to see so many people streaming to 0 viewers, just hoping to make it. And there was an analogy in this thread that was like, oh, it's right here. It's like, think of it like you are actively hanging out with people at a random party, and not so much as random people coming to your party. That is not the analogy to use, my guy. The analogy you use is, it's not like you're throwing a party and people are there. It's like you start a party at your house and you invite no one to the party, and then you stand there with your party hat on, sitting in your chair, music blasting, lights going, waiting for people to show up. And the only people that are going to show up are the police, because they're pissed off that you're angry at the neighbors. Like, this is never going to happen. So right now, I just want streaming to 0 viewers is a complete waste of time. It is. There's no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it. I saw it. Yep. Some of you are going to be like, but Devin, what about practicing? What if you just practice for 0 viewers? It is always better to make a YouTube video or to make some kind of evergreen content to practice rather than it is to live stream. The reason is because it forces you to be thematic. It forces you to do something that you actually have to think through your content, and you have to plan, and that is going to make you a much better like actor and entertainer than anything live streaming. All you have to do to live stream is click the OBS button. Okay? Don't lie to me. I know you're lazy. You just click the OBS button. It's harder to make a YouTube video, and it's harder to plan and script and think about being entertaining, because sure, anybody can just hit start OBS if you've got the bandwidth to do it, and then stream a video game. So the practice thing, which everybody always says, like, oh, that's why I stream to 0 viewers, I'm practicing. No, you're failing. and you're not willing to do what it takes to succeed. That is the actual truth, okay? So streaming to 0 viewers is a complete waste of time. You're not getting any discoverability. And there was like a Devin Nash guy down here. Somewhere on this thread. I got to find it. And where is it? Oh, here he is. Yeah, my guy, Michelle me, okay? If you stream purely for fun and don't care for viewers, and I suppose that's motivation in itself, no problem there. But if there's no one watching you, your goal is to build viewers, then you're better off not streaming. Twitch has extremely poor discoverability, like extremely poor. If you have 0 viewers, the 3 most common reasons are you have the personality of a potato, your setup has major issues, or you're streaming on a category where you're entirely invisible. Actually, this is the only issue. And it's not that there's a category that you're entirely invisible. It's every category you're entirely invisible, because directory-based search, as we've talked about in numerous other videos, is basically pointless. So you cannot stream to 0 viewers hoping that people will show up. It's just not going to happen. So one of the reasons why you feel unmotivated is because you're literally sitting there talking to a wall and nobody's listening. And there's all these suggestions that come up in these threads and one of the reasons I'm making this video as evergreen content is because this thread's going to come up again. It's going to come up a bazillion times over and over again until the end of time. And no amount of videos that I make will change this. I just live in this existence, this void, this tragedy where all I do is make videos about this and no one's ever going to listen. But anyway, that aside, the crux of the issue here is that you have to understand that streaming to 0 viewers or even streaming to 10 viewers or 20 viewers is not doing anything for your discoverability. There's no amount of that's going to ever equate to you becoming a successful broadcaster, no matter how entertaining you are, because there's just not a way for new people to find you. You may, no matter what you do, when you're streaming to low viewer counts, whether you call it practice or whatever, you're going to get unmotivated eventually because you're not seeing those results. We're going to talk about some of the solutions as to how to do that, but just understanding that that is just not a thing. So many people just get this wrong, and I just want to clear that up. But let's get to some of these solutions, because that's, I think, some of the core of what I really want to talk about, and where I think there's going to be the most value in this video. So we understand what makes people unmotivated, and usually, speaking to smaller content creators, lower concurrent viewer counts are typically the thing. But for broadcasters that are more established, that have been broadcasting for a while, they usually don't feel like results are coming. They feel like either their concurrent viewers have stayed the same for a long time, or they just don't feel like their content is hitting the mark in the same way. And we're going to talk about how to address that now. So the number one thing that I have to suggest, and this is just so valuable, is diversify. So get the feeling that you're creating elsewhere and establish more than one, can't type today, line of growth. So this could be YouTube, LinkedIn, educational somewhere, Instagram. But the idea here at number one is be more than just a broadcaster. Focus on live stream as a secondary market to your brand. This is so important. And this is the number one thing that changed me as a broadcaster and made me really focus on creating value. There's a Zen saying that if you want to learn how to be a perfect archer, you can't decide and then act. You have to act and decide in the same moment. And the analogy is to shoot an arrow. If you want to shoot an arrow and be a perfect archer, you have to think and shoot at the same exact time, right? And this is as a brand, in the same exact way, you have to execute in a way that you're always creating and attempt to try to establish more lines of growth in multiple ways, instead of just focusing in one area over and over and over again. You want to focus on the live stream as a secondary thing. It's a small part of the totality that is your brand. You are not a live stream. You are a brand. You are a person creating something of value, right? Whether that be entertainment or education or whatever. Once you have the feeling that you're creating something elsewhere, if you have another line of success, for me, creating a YouTube was the number one thing. It ended up, it's probably one of the most important things I've ever done in my life. And that sounds really crazy, but it just provided several different openings and lines for me to measure success differently. So I think this is super important in everything. This is really good advice for everything. If you're lifting weights and you're getting stuck on PRs, then you just can't progress. Do some form of other exercise where you can grow in that way. Maybe it's swinging kettlebells, or maybe it's sprinting or running or something different. Or if I am focusing on my company, my agency Novo, and my company is not going well, actually, perfect example. So last week, we probably had the most difficult time as a company that we've had in any 5-day period. A ton of stuff went down. It was very difficult. But at the same time, completely ancillary, is that a word? People in comments will tell me if that's a word. Completely separate to that, I released a video called The Future of Live Streaming, which was the most successful video to date of all time that I've ever done. So the business is on fire. I mean, people running around the office. It was terrible. We were trying to solve so many difficult problems. But because I had diversified, I released that video. That video's success stood in a microcosm and carried my positive attitude to continue to go. And I cannot express to you how important it is to have different verticals of success in your life. If this is true for jobs, this is true for any kind of freelance work that you do, for everything, for relationships. Like if you have multiple different friendships that you value, or multiple different classes that you're taking, or multiple different skills that you're learning, then when you get stuck and you plateau on these one areas, it matters so much that you diversify. So I cannot express to you how much YouTube as a whole for me has been a source of positive energy, not because it is my YouTube, but because it is a separate source of success to which I can measure. And if you feel like you're stuck streaming or you're stuck doing anything, diversifying is an incredible way to get around this. And it's the number one piece of advice that I have. Here's a more tactical thing though. And this is make something for another platform while streaming. So your stream isn't just dead and gets lost. One of the things that drives me crazy about live streaming, and I think it was truly the moment where I was like, man, I need to do something else. It was when Twitch, do y'all remember when Twitch did that thing with DMCA where they didn't make people do it. I want to be careful with my wording, but they strongly encouraged everybody to delete their VODs and just to remove their clips. And I had been streaming for 9 years at that point. And we backed up everything on an S3, but if you go to twitch.tv/Devin Nash, which is, as of this video, pretty much a dead channel, you go to it and you look at the VODs, there's barely anything left. Or you go to the clips, there's barely anything. And the reason from like multiple years ago, because I had to delete everything. And I realized, man, as soon as you create something in live streaming, that content is basically gone. Like it can exist there, but no one goes back to it and sorts through it because it's just not that type of thing. So if you're streaming a lot and you're broadcasting, you're gonna start to feel unmotivated because your stuff is just not going anywhere. It's not getting saved. Let's say that you stream for 6 hours and you have a completely unsuccessful stream. Nobody really follows the channel. You didn't get a lot of viewers that day. You feel like a failure because that time is now dead in your mind. It didn't create anything of value that is evergreen and exists. This is another really important concept in life. And one of the reasons I love doing these talks is because a lot of these things have these corollaries, not just to content creation, but to other things that you're doing. If you spend your time, like 6 to 8 hours of your day, doing something that has no return on its investment beyond the amount of time you spent, this sucks. This is why like working for dollars per hour like feels so bad, because you're just not creating something that stands the test of time and lasts later and adds value to you. So if a very simple thing to do for content creators is make a YouTube video while streaming. I started doing that where I would dedicate a small segment to just making a video while broadcasting. And it was like so valuable that even if I had a totally trash stream, I got a YouTube video out of it. You could make an Instagram, you could edit a video, you could do all kinds of things, right? Where you create something that lives beyond your live stream. And again, this is the thinking that you need to have for creating live streaming as a secondary part of a wider brand, right? So I love this concept of just like making sure that your broadcast like exists for longer than that broadcast. It doesn't just feel like this waste of time. Here's another tactical thing for broadcasts. This is number 3. Stop being attached to CCVs, viewer count. This is probably this should have been number 1 because, oh my God, big or small broadcasters, you will see everybody doing this. And it brings down, how many of you have been watching a stream and it just brings down the quality of the show for somebody to be like, yeah, just not getting the number of viewers today, guys. Yeah, it just kind of feels kind of bad. Like it just brings down the whole show. So there was a lot of suggestions in this thread that were like, turn off your viewer count. I can't agree with that more. I think that's very healthy. But I think the step beyond that is to just stop being attached to viewer count. Like actually, just stop caring about it. There are a lot of reasons why viewer count is just kind of a BS number. Number 1, it's not really clear how many people are actually viewing you and what constitutes a view. So if you have 1,000 people in your stream, say, it's not really clear that there are 1,000 people sitting in their chair watching you at that time. Maybe some of them left their stream on. Some of them are bots. A lot of them are bots, actually. Some of them are embeds like that are on a website somewhere, and you're just getting referenced or something. Especially if you have like over 500 viewers, at that point you're probably being linked or clicked in different places, and it's really unclear like how many viewers you actually have. Especially for viewer, like a 30,000 person broadcast or stream might seem like a lot of people, and it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're talking in the 0.0001%, but you would be surprised how many of those viewers are not active people. They're bots or cats or blank screens in a bar somewhere. This is right. Like, so you can't be sure that your viewer count is actually indicative of how many viewers you have. And even if it was, it's not a very valuable stat to follow because it is so variable. So if you have 500 viewers one day and you have 800 viewers the next day, and next day you have 600 viewers, next day you have 500, it's impossible to dictate why this was. You're going to come up with all of these reasons in your mind about why it happened because that's what the human mind does. It's like, oh, it was because that day I was wearing a green shirt, and green shirts, people hate green shirts. That's just not meta these days. I was playing the wrong game. I was off my mood. I was upset. You're going to think of a million different reasons, but trust me, as a guy that crunches stats all day for things like live streaming, there is no correlation whatsoever between you cannot draw a conclusion. Let me say it that way. You cannot draw a conclusion with a week of data. You just can't do it. You can't look at especially like 2 or 3 days of data. Like Solinome has, if you look up a stream, has like a 3-day count on data. You can't do it. You can't look at it and say, okay, this is what I decreased 20% viewership in 3 days. This is why. There's no value in this. The only value in concurrent viewers is over 90-day periods. That's the minimum amount of time that we've looked at where it makes sense that you can do a trend analysis to figure out what's going on. And at that point, you can make several different distinctions. Maybe it's your content. Maybe it's your, maybe you've just stopped doing certain calls to action. Maybe you've gotten worse as a broadcast. All kinds of reasons, but you cannot do it over 3 to 7 days periods. It drives me crazy to see broadcasters, especially very successful broadcasters, having a bad week and then beating themselves up over it, because they think that it's indicative of some kind of thing they're doing. And usually it's not. It could be because everybody decided to get ice cream that day. It could be because a certain ingest server on Twitch was down. Like, you can't know over that period of time. So the only way to look at viewer count is to look at it over a long period of time, or preference, my recommendation, not at all. So, okay, Devin, well, you've said that you don't want us to look at viewer count, so what should you do? Well, instead, look at new followers or new joins on other platforms. So I'll qualify this in a minute. And I like Discord. For whatever reason, people have sandbagged, on new followers. Everybody hates the follower metric. And I think it's because a lot of people get botted these days, although Commander Root has an easy solution to that I recommend in videos, and I have it linked everywhere. It's just Commander Root's tool to unfollow. Commander Root unfollow or follower bot remover. Just Google this. First link. And you could just log in, and then it just removes the bots. So this is like never a problem. A lot of people dog on new followers or follower counts because I think they see followers as illegitimate, but for whatever reason, they don't see view count as illegitimate, even though up to 30 or 40% of viewers can be fake. That's without view botting. So I love new followers because that is a person saying, I have made the conscious effort to engage and like your broadcast, sir, or thing. And if they join Discord or a new platform, like follow you on Twitter or Discord is my favorite metric for success. If you run a 0 viewer stream, but you got 5 new people in your Discord, that is a monumental success. If you got 5 new followers, pretty good, right? Also a good success because you've increased your total follower count from 0. Let's say it started at 0 or 1 to 500%, right? That's an incredible success. So if 5 new people join your Discord and start chatting, like that's an omega success. That's great, right? That's so much more valuable than like, oh, I have 5 or 7 viewers that are like 2 of which are like my mom's dog and 1 is like Commander Root, right? Like the guy that keeps the bot in every one of those channels. It's concurrent. We put so much importance on concurrent viewers, and it's just not important for any level of broadcaster, even very successful broadcasters. Looking at new followers and looking at new people that join other platforms is way more valuable because it also trains you to think in a way that gets you thinking about, okay, how do I do things to get more followers? How do I do things to get more people interested in what I'm doing? It's a way better question than how do I get more viewers? How do you get more viewers? Well, just get 30 girls nude in a hot tub and then hit the start streaming button. Like, you'll get 10K viewers really quick, and then you'll get banned, right? Like, there's a million different ways to get viewers. That's the wrong question. What you want to ask yourself is, how do I get new people who know, like, and trust me and want to come back for more? That's a great question. When you start asking that question, it expands your thinking in a way that it goes way beyond being attached to viewer counts. So don't be attracted to viewer counts. And the final and real important piece of advice I have is be someone interesting. Oh, great. Thanks, Devin. What value you have provided in this 25-minute video that I'm still watching, which, by the way, secret call out, if you are still watching this video at this point, leave a comment, let me know. I always read them and I enjoy it. I always want to know how many people get this far in the battle. Yeah, so thank you for the 25-minute video only to end on being someone interesting. Very, very helpful, Devin. Wow, great advice. A+. That's what I subscribe for. Okay, no, okay. I'm going to explain what I mean by this. So usually, the problem of not knowing what to create, you'll find a lot of people that are like, I don't know what to stream. Or I'm unmotivated, right? It's not that you don't know what to do. It's that you're freaking boring. Okay? Okay? You haven't developed an interesting skill or trade, and you haven't found something that you're so passionate about that you don't want to quit. Don't turn off the video. Keep listening. I promise this will be helpful. That you don't want to quit. If you set out to be a content creator just by virtue of the job itself, that's all you want to do is just create content, this will end in failure because you don't have something that makes you interesting or unique. Way too many people are thinking about, I'm unmotivated, I don't know what to stream, I don't get it. And the number one thing you should think about is like, man, what can I learn that would be valuable to other people? What kind of skill or trade could I learn that would then become valuable to other people that they would be interested in hearing about? And then you can move to entertaining content or educational content, right? This is true for entertaining or educational or whatever. Let's say that you want to be more entertaining. Take an improv class. That's something to talk about. And now you could do some improv skits on your show, and now you create content. Let's say that you want to be educational. Take a class on marketing. You can teach stuff about marketing or live streaming platforms like my dumbass does, right? Like, if you haven't developed an interesting skill or trade, you haven't found something you're passionate about, you don't have anything to offer to people. And way too many of you are clicking the start streaming button and then wondering why you have 0 viewers and you're a potato. You don't have anything to offer to people. And this will take you nowhere in life. Like, the number one thing that I think you could do is start learning trades or skills. I mean, there are just so many millions of things, and you should keep trying them until you find something you can't quit. It could be dance, it could be cooking, it could be anything. And guess what? Let's say that you don't have the skill, and you're like, but Devin, I have to be really good at something to create content around it, right? Like, well, okay, well, I'm just going to go learn to be a master chef and come back as Gordon Ramsay in 5 years. That's great, but I want to create content right now. Guess what? You can document the journey, which people love of developing a skill. You could start from day one and be like, all right, 30-day cooking challenge. I'm going to become a expert chef. I'm going to have this kind of crazy goal within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go from zero, like, go to YouTube right now and look at like 0 to 100, 1 year dance transformations or something like that, right? Like, we'll go there right now. Let me search. So like 1 year dance transformation. I'm just going to search for this. And just look at the number of views that these videos get. 5.2 million, 851K, 9.3 million, 64K, 6.7 million, 1.4, 1 year dance. See, people love this story. So there's a lot of you that are like, okay, I do have a skill, but I can't create content yet. And you're just procrastinating. You're afraid. That's all. You are not documenting the journey. The journey is so important. I wish that I had more. I do have some on like old YouTube channels that shall remain nameless of like me standing awkwardly in front of a camera being like, hello guys, this is Devin here. I'm gonna talk about some business stuff. Step 1, be yourself. Step 2, buy my course. Thank you. course. I don't sell a course, but you know what I mean? Like, I was very uncomfortable, and I love going back to that stuff these days. I still keep it up. If you sort by oldest on this channel, you'll find some like weird personal development stuff of me in a basement teaching you how to be better at your life or whatever. I love that stuff because it documented my journey here. And this is a documentation of my journey to wherever I am in 20 years. So don't sit there and be like, oh, I can't do something yet. Do it now, because documenting that journey is going to be so valuable for you. And it pains me that you feel like you have to be an expert, or you have to be so, like, where is there? Like, at what point are you gonna be there? It's never gonna be there. You're there now. This is it. Just do it now. There's no point at a later point where you'll feel good enough to do it. You've got to do it right now. So usually this problem of like being unmotivated is just a kind of lack of willingness to like really go learn or take a chance or do something that you might really be passionate about. And there's a million different things in life. Like, I feel like I could live 100 different lifetimes and I would never get bored. I want to do dance. I want to do Japanese horse archery. I want to learn Chinese. I want to learn how to farm things. I want to learn how to make rhubarb stuff. I want to learn about tea, cookies. I want to make cookies. There's a billion different things you can do. I want to start 10 zillion different companies. And just focusing on one of these things, you're like, you know what? That rolls my wagon, that fills my teacup, is an interesting thing that you can then document on YouTube or Instagram or wherever, that people will then follow you for, and you won't feel unmotivated anymore because again, you've done number one, right? You've diversified and found another metric for success that can take you to to kind of like the next level of thinking about things, and like it can mute or blunt those other failures that you might have along the way. So those are the four, I think, that I would really recommend for like unmotivated broadcasters. And I realize this is like a big problem in a lot of communities. And I know I'm going to see this over and over again. Like, this is not going to be the video that solves this problem, but I hope that that the people that are watching, there's a lot of you actually that are just interested in the industry and just watch, which are awesome. Thank you. For y'all, I hope you see how these things can actually be analogous. Is that a word? Analogous? Sounds like I'm really smart. Analogous to other things in your life. Diversifying, for example, maybe you're not even in this space, but you have a job. Maybe diversifying into something like a side hustle would be something that like increases your overall happiness because you have that other metric of success. So for y'all that are watching that are interested in this kind of stuff, I hope this helps you in that way. And if you're a content creator, then I hope this directly helps you, because it should give you some tactical advice as to how to not be unmotivated. Because I don't want anybody to be unmotivated. You should never be sitting on a stream to 0 to 10 viewers feeling horrible because you're not making it. And there's thousands of people out there that are doing that right now. And it's so sad, because just with like a little shift of your thinking, you would not be there, and you'd be developing an interesting skill or trade that even if your entire broadcast failed, which it most likely will, you will still have that thing that you can have, that you learned, that you can take away from it, that will be a part of your life's journey. Okay, so thank you all for watching this. You're amazing at support. I get so many tweets and DMs from people that are just like, hey, this is cool. So you're giving me the inspiration to keep making these videos, and I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching this. Bye-bye.